Hi guys, and welcome to my latest Doctor Who book review for Doctor Who Diamond Dogs, and this is written by Mike Tucker. Now Mike Tucker, he is a writer for one of the first Doctor Who books I ever bought, and that was The Nightmare of Black Island, which I believe is sort of loosely based on The Horror of Fang Rock, which is a Fourth Doctor story. And so yeah, I finished reading this yesterday, and yeah, I haven't had it for that long. I think I've only had it for a week and a half or 2 weeks roughly. And so basically I'm just going to give you my thoughts on it, but first of all I will just sort of give you the sort of presentation of the book. And it's a really nice cover. It's a design done by Lee Binding, of course, and as you can see, you may remember this particular shot of the TARDIS, particular image from Day of the Doctor, but I'm just going to say this now. I don't think this happens in the story, so I think they just put it there because the picture looks nice, and there is it is based around like a mining facility in space, so I guess you could say it does kind of happen because the TARDIS does get moved at some point in the story to another section, but it doesn't really just say it's being picked up by a crane or whatever. It's just been transported somewhere else. We've got Doctor Who Diamond Dogs. We've got the Doctor and Bill there, of course, and it says here an unknown life form, a deadly saboteur. We've got loads of diamonds because it describes in this particular book that the planet which they're on literally rains diamonds. It's quite a cool idea. So we've got Doctor Who Diamond Dogs, Mike Tucker, and then we've got the spine. It's a pretty yellowish book, this one. I don't really own that many yellow books, so that's quite nice. I decided to put the Forbidden Planet sticker on the back for the purposes of this review. So we've got the blurb, we've got a nice picture of the 12th Doctor, and the quote says, "Here on Saturn, it literally rains diamonds." So yeah, pretty much proves my point, really. And so you've got the blurb there, which I shall read to you in a minute. And here it says, an original novel featuring the 12th Doctor and Bill, as played by Peter Capaldi and Pearl Mackie. So obviously this is set in Series 10 timeline. The blurb is, for over 15 years, the crew of Kolozanista Mining Facility 27 has been extracting diamonds from deep within the atmosphere of Saturn, diamonds that help to fund the ever-expanding human empire. But when no mining operation goes wrong, a rescue mission must be launched to save a worker lost overboard, a worker who claims that he has seen something amongst the swirling clouds, something that can't possibly exist yet. When the Doctor and Bill arrive, they immediately find themselves caught between hostile miners, suspicious security guards, and a corrupt company officials as they face accusations of sabotage and diamond theft. And below them, in the crushing atmosphere of the gas giant, something is starting to rise. So yes, it will cost you $6.99. I haven't seen any of these books in paperback form, but I'm sure there'll be like a box set of 3 at some point released, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll show you the sort of signature. So here we go. This is a signed copy, and they might still have these in Forbidden Planet, so it's worth checking just in case they have them. But they might have already sold out, because obviously it's quite nice to have a signed Doctor Who book. And here we've got also available from BBC Books, and it says Plague City, which is written by Jonathan Morris, and I'm actually starting to read that at the moment, and The Shining Man by Cavan Scott, which I've heard a lot of good things about, so I'm looking forward to all of these books, really. And this is the first one I've read, because I thought it's the first sort of in chronological order of this sort of trilogy. This is the first 12th Doctor novel I've read, and I really enjoyed it. And I think one of the main reasons I sort of enjoyed it is because of the fact that the 12th Doctor is characterised really well. and I really quite like the setting. If you know me, then you'll know that I'm not a big fan of futuristic stories, because sometimes I feel like, I don't know, they're just not really my cup of tea, really. But I think, yeah. Sorry, I'm just I've got my notes here, and I'm just trying to read them off. As you can see, I've written them all down, and I'm just trying to generalise this review to make it a bit better. So yeah, Bill is characterised well, because obviously the writers, they couldn't really do much with Bill because of the fact that they've seen very little of her. But I've read somewhere that they actually did get a sneak peek of the first episode, the pilot, and so yeah, they basically just worked from that. And I think the only sort of issue I have with the book is that Bill, she doesn't really get an awful lot to do in it, because I think they sort of had to push her on the sidelines a little bit, because obviously they didn't know much about her. All they had to do was look at the trailers and look at the footage and various clips of what was released before the series aired. So it was quite a tricky task, and because obviously every series they release a batch of books, and it's going to be particularly hard for the next, series 11, because I'm not sure how or when they will release those first 3 batch of books. But yes, there's at the beginning of the book, like straight away, we are introduced to a character called Laura Palmer, who's like this sort of captain of this mining facility, and she's sort of the main supporting character of this. And speaking of supporting characters, a lot of them were pretty good, and they did keep you intrigued throughout the story, and you sort of did care about them. So yeah, that was pretty good, and Mike Tucker did a good job of that. And there are other characters as well, called Chief Jorgen Deletsky. He was probably my favourite supporting character, because you do get to learn a bit about him. He's a bit of a arrogant sod at first, but throughout the course of the book, you do get to appreciate him, and that he's actually, it's not as bad as he's made first out, sort of in the beginning of the book. And then you've got other characters called Donald Nettleman, who's you'll learn more about him. I don't want to spoil anything about him, because he's a bit of a dislikable character, and so is the character called Rince. I don't know what his second name is. He's just called Rince in the book. So as for the main aliens of the book, they are called the Baelkrat, and you first see them when I don't know how you pronounce them. Their sort of lettering is BA, and where are they? I've lost it now. BA-EL and CRATT. I might actually sort of do like a caption on the screen so you can actually know what I'm talking about, because when I was reading it, I thought, why can't they just be called something simplistic instead of like a dash? And I'm bound to mispronounce it. So yeah, I'll say the Balikrat, and they first appear, and they're sort of seeking refuge because they're sort of stranded and the ship's broken down. And yeah, then you sort of suspect that they're not all who they seem, and yeah, that's when for me this book was quite slow. It was a lot of build up, and to be honest, nothing really happens that much until around page 152, I'd say. So yeah, sort of like halfway through the book, which I can imagine it'll be annoying for some people. And yeah, it wasn't really much of an issue for me, because I sort of saw it as build up. But if you're one of those people that like action straight away, then I don't think you'll particularly enjoy this book. But yeah, for me the story was sort of like a mixture of the Claws of Axos and the Caves of Androzani. I know that's a completely random choice of stories, but they actually do reference Shara's Jack from the Caves of Androzani, and they reference Androzani Minor, as well as other planets like, I can't remember the names, but the other planets from Vengeance of Varos and Planet of Evil, which I thought was a nice touch. I was like really liking the story when they were sort of referencing those stories. Well, the characters and planets from those stories. And yeah, the references for the Caves of Androzani is really early on in the book, and so yeah, that was quite nice. And the idea of raining diamonds, I thought was a nice concept, and it really did make the story feel really futuristic. And there's a lot of jargon in this as well, because obviously it's hardline science fiction. And yeah, it's a story that I did enjoy. I thought it was pretty good, because basically the humans on this sort of mining facility are working with a race called the Kangaroo, and without them they would probably won't be where they are today, because the Kangaroo sort of provide all the machinery and materials so that they could collect these diamonds. And you learn more about the Kangaroo and the Ballycrat throughout the story, because like I said, nothing really happens much until page 150, like halfway through. So yeah, that's one of my sort of only issues really, is that not a lot happens during the start of it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say really, because most of the good points are sort of the plot. I thought was fairly solid. They got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And yeah, great characterization of the 12th Doctor. I'd say it's pretty difficult to capture in book form, but no, I think Mike Tucker did a really good job here. And yeah, I would say I'd probably give this book a 6 out of 10. It's not the best book I've ever read, but it was, for what it was, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. So yeah, if you're a fan of Peter Capaldi, then and Bill especially, well, I know Bill doesn't really get a lot to do in this, but if you're a fan of the 12th Doctor, I definitely recommend you pick this up, because I guarantee you'll probably enjoy it if you're a fan of his character and his Doctor. So yes, thank you very much for watching this review, and I don't know what my next video will be, but it'll probably be my reaction video to The Pyramid at the End of the World on Saturday. So yes, thank you for watching, and goodbye.